Now, what he wants are special visas, particularly for Scotland. Special visas, particularly for Scotland. So this would be a Scottish visa. So what it would mean is that your foreign student would have this visa that says you can find a job in Scotland, but it has to be in Scotland. You can't shift down to London or anything like that. And that's a possibility that they could, I mean, Starmer could bring in something like that. This famous headline from last year: Labour aims to work with SNP to encourage immigrants to live in Scotland. You know, that's from the Herald on Sunday of the 30th of June, 2024. Scottish Labour's deputy leader, Jackie Baillie, says new visa, once planned by Nicola Sturgeon, would address country's skills shortages. That's Labour saying that, okay? So we have to be conscious that maybe Swinney thinks he's pushing at an open door. Maybe he thinks he's pushing at an open door. Well, let me tell you, if Labour brought that in and allowed Swinney to exercise that work visa for Scotland, then I believe that would harm Labour's chances even further in 2026. It surely would. It surely would harm Labour if they did it. And I think maybe Labour understands that in an extent, because last week in the National, January the 14th, call for Scottish visa scheme dismissed by Home Office. Now, this was a different visa. This wasn't a student visa. This was a, what did they call it? A rural visa pilot proposal to ensure the needs of Scotland's employers, who are they? Communities, right? And public services are fully reflected within the immigration system, close quote. Before the general election, it says here, Scottish Labour leader Jackie Baillie told the Herald a new Labour government would be open to talks with ministers in Edinburgh about Scottish visa. Previously, a UK Labour government introduced a bespoke Scottish fresh talent scheme to allow university graduates to stay in the country for 2 years. Well, I do remember that fresh talent scheme, and we have got a long memory, and we have got detailed files here in the office. So I looked at our detailed files from back in 2004, which is to say 20 years ago, 20 and a half years ago, in the Sunday Herald, 13th of June, 2004. Fresh talent plan is doomed, within quotes. And this is 20 years ago, okay? Jack McConnell wanted to bring in, and did bring in, this fresh talent scheme. Didn't last for very long. Didn't get that many people. But remember, that's 20 years ago. We weren't facing the millions of people who are coming into Britain these days. Labour market experts claim there are insufficient jobs for native Scottish graduates, and that adding foreign graduates to the pool will only worsen their job prospects after 2005, when the scheme is introduced. Isn't that what I just said? Again, speaking 20 years ago, Professor Robert Wright, a Labour economist at Stirling University, said, quote, "Who are these thousands of students who have had a blissful 4 years here and want to stay? There are far more opportunities for them in London and the southeast of England. Graduates are leaving Scotland because there are too many for the jobs available. I just don't buy that the Scottish labour market can absorb any more graduates. In fact, we already actually have an over-education problem. We have no shortage of people with sociology degrees, but can you get a plumber? Everyone is crying out for lower-end skills," close quote. And that situation is the same today. 100 times so, it's the same today. Goodness me. All that John Swinney's going to do, if such a visa scheme came in, is prejudice the employment prospects of our own Scottish students here right now. It's so obvious.